Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up, we got a fun show on tap. I have never done a show like I am about to do on today's program. And if you enjoy it, you watch to the very end, make sure you click that like button so we do more content like this. We're going to get into some of the major NFL news that happened today. If you did not see the NFL news, I will talk about it. I also kind of talked about it a little bit late last night. And if you didn't hear, you definitely live underneath a rock. Because of the news that ended up going down with John Harbaugh getting a deal done with the New York Giants, I reached out and I talked to every single one of our chat sports hosts here. Obviously, I cover the Raiders. I'm the Raiders Report host. Hello, my name is Mitchell Renz. So what I did is I reached out to our Ravens host. I reached out to our Browns host. I reached out to every single one of our hosts that cover an NFL team, and I said, who do you think are the top 3 candidates that your team could go out and hire? And based on their answers, I am going to figure out who the Raiders could potentially hire to be their head coach. So, if a team hires a guy, I can't end up getting that guy for the silver and black. I'll walk you through it here in a little bit. But again, the big-time NFL news that ended up going down, John Harbaugh got hired by the New York Giants. And the way that the NFL works during this time of the year, and honestly, during a lot of the times of the years, it's dominoes. The first domino has fallen. So the fact that now there's 8 other jobs that are going to be open, and the fact that John Harbaugh's job and was probably one of the most coveted out there, there's going to be more dominoes that start to fall. So what I figured I would try to do today is figure out, all right, well, let's see where these other dominoes could land. Then that means who the Raiders could potentially hire to be their next head coach. I will say this. Harbaugh was never an option for the Raiders. Yes, the Raiders and Harbaugh, John Spytek Tom Brady, did have conversations. That was reported. I did an entire show on it. However, though, Harbaugh and the Raiders did not make any sense. It didn't make sense from the Raiders' standpoint. It didn't make sense from Harbaugh's standpoint. But that's why you subscribe, because I've already talked about Harbaugh not becoming the next coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Before we get into which coaches are going to land where, I do want to say thank all of y'all for hitting that subscribe button. I ask a lot of y'all. I do. I ask y'all to always time comment, hit that like button, subscribe. It's the reason why I do it is because every time I've ever grown up and I got to know somebody, I'm not afraid to ask. Why? Because I think that that's how a relationship works. If you're not willing to ask, well, then you shouldn't be willing to receive, right? So to me, I know y'all always show up and show out. So to some of our recent subscribers that said, you know what, that guy's not too bad. I want to learn more about the Las Vegas Raiders, that hit that subscribe button. I hope that if you've been a part of this family for a long time, I hope that you let people know down below that we are the #1 Raiders community on the planet. And to make sure you don't miss any news, to make sure you don't miss any rumors, free agency, the draft, this could be the craziest offseason of all time for Raider fans out there. And I hope that you join the Raiders Report family by hitting that subscribe button. So here are the 8 current head coach jobs that are open. These are not ranked in any particular way, though I do think that the best job available is the Baltimore Ravens, which is why we're going to talk about them first. And then the job at the very, very end is the Raiders because, well, this is the Raiders Report. So let's talk about who could be the next head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. I reached out to our Ravens guy. His name's Joey Peterson, and he said that right now I believe the top 3 candidates for Baltimore, Brian Flores, Jesse Minter, Robert Saleh. Defense, defense, defense. His prediction, which kind of broke my heart a little bit, Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter. Minter worked with Baltimore for, I want to say it was close to like 4 to 5 years. Then he went to Michigan. Then he ended up going to the Chargers where he is now. So the Baltimore Ravens, let's say for this game, ended up hiring Jesse Minter. Next up on the list, the Miami Dolphins, who fired Mike McDaniel. They hired Jon-Eric Sullivan already as their general manager. And according to our Dolphins guy, his name is Nick Roloff, his sources have told him that this guy, Jeff Hafley for the Green Bay Packers, their DC, is going to be the next candidate. He did say he thinks Minter and Shula would also be in the running, more defensive-minded coaches. But because Mike McDaniel got the boot, they ended up hiring Jon-Eric Sullivan, who's got a lot of connections to Green Bay. Looks like Jeff Hafley will be the next coach of the Dolphins. Next team coming up here on the show is going to be the Arizona Cardinals. And the Cardinals, they fired Jonathan Gannon earlier. Their top 3 candidates, according to our Cardinals host here, Vance Joseph, Klint Kubiak, Robert Saleh. When I heard Klint Kubiak, Vance Joseph, Saleh, I was like, damn it. They're going to get Kubiak, aren't they? He told me no. Vance Joseph is almost a lock to be the next coach. And you got to remember, Joseph was a very, good defensive coordinator for Arizona before he got an opportunity to be a head coach. Then he ended up going back to Denver to be a DC. But it sounds like Arizona has got their eyes set on Vance Joseph. So you guys let me know down below. This is going to be the pinned comment here on today's program. Who's going to be the Raiders head coach this season? When you're getting hit with that YouTube ad break, scroll on down, answer that one for me. I would greatly appreciate it. To me, right now, there are a few candidates that you'd have to consider. I'm not going to tell you who's the coach that's on this show, but if I was a betting man, the number one guy that I would sit up here and say my money's going towards is Jesse Minter, which makes this show interesting because obviously I can't hire Jesse Minter if he's already with the Baltimore Ravens. Let's go to the Cleveland Browns, who ended up firing Kevin Stefanski, a two-time NFL Coach of the Year, just a week ago. The top three candidates, according to our Browns host, his nickname's J.O.D. Maybe you guys have heard me talk about him, give him a shout-out from time to time. He said Grant Udinski, Mike McDaniel, and Dan Pitcher. So a little bit of some different names here. And one of the things that I love about this show, our chat sports guys, they put in a lot of time, they put in a lot of effort, just like I do. I think I know the Raiders like the back of my hand. So when I heard these three names, I was intrigued. And to hear that he believed the Jaguars offensive coordinator, Grant Udinski, who would be the youngest head coach of all time at 29 years old, ends up getting the job. Very, very interesting. So coming up next here on the program, who will the Atlanta Falcons, Pittsburgh Steelers, Tennessee Titans end up hiring? And then we're going to try to narrow down that search of who the silver and black, who Tom Spytek, and who Tom Brady could potentially be looking at. Now, I don't know if y'all saw this. Tom Brady gifted his son. It was like a $2.3 million watch for his birthday. I don't know if GLD's got anything $2.3 million, but Tom, if you want to get me anything, I would greatly appreciate it. 50% off your order with code CHAT. And if you don't already know, GLD is going to hook you up. Work hard, change the game. For a limited time only, new customers are getting an insane deal. Use code CHAT to get 50% off at GLD.com. If you're like, Mitch, well, how good is GLD? Over 2 million customers, 50,000 five-star reviews, and worn by stars like Micah Parsons, Malik Neighbors, and Kevin Durant. I'll tell you this right now. If it's good enough for those three got way more drip than I do, so I would love to be able to rock them. Also, they come in with every NFL team, NBA, WNBA, MLB, NCAA, MLS, even DC Comics. So if you're trying to get the hookup, use code CHAT to get 50% off at GLD.com. That's 50% off with code CHAT at GLD.com. Also, we got quality pieces that are built to last a lifetime. So whether you're looking for a ring, a watch, earring, a pennant, a chain, GLD's got you hooked up. And after you make your purchase and you save 50%, let them know where you heard about it. Let them know that Mitchell Renz from the Raiders Report sent you. That link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. Hopefully the Raiders change their season, and hopefully you change your game with GLD. Just remember to use code CHAT for 50% off your order. Let's now go to the ATL, and we're going to be talking about the Atlanta Falcons. So obviously I reached out to our Falcons host here at Chat Sports. I said, well, who's going to be taking over for Raheem Morris? And he said either Klint Kubiak, Kevin Stefanski, Mike McDaniel. I don't know why I said Raheem Morris' name weird like that. I know. Throw some tomatoes at me. He goes, former Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski is going to get that job. So I instantly was like, whew. I was worried y'all were going to steal Klint Kubiak away, which I do find it interesting right now that Minter, Hafley, Vance, Grant Udinski, and Kevin Stefanski are off the board. And I say that because I don't know if that's where I would have particularly gone with my predictions, but that's why you subscribe to Chat Sports, for people that follow their teams inside and out. Let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, because obviously Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin split after 19 seasons. It's going to be really difficult to be able to find a Tomlin replacement, but according to our Steelers host Jack Sperry, he said Shula, Flores, Robert Saleh. Defense, defense, defense. This is going to be an organization that I do believe ends up going with the defensive side of the football. I have said that I could see Brian Flores. Now, maybe that's just me putting my Raiders cap on, hoping that Flores ends up going to Pittsburgh. But one of the things the Steelers do is they don't move on from coaches. They've had 3 coaches since 1969. We've had 6 coaches since 2021, right? So it's a little difficult. But the Steelers also have a trend. They like to hire new and up-and-coming people. If you've ever heard me say I want an up-and-coming coach, it's what good organizations do. When they hired Tomlin, they hired him at 37. When they hired the guy before him, I can't even think of his name. It's embarrassing that I can't think of his name. F it. I can't think of it. He was also like 37 years old. And then now you're looking at a dude like Rams defensive coordinator Chris Shula, who's right there around the exact same age at about 36, 37. If you want a defensive-minded coach that's got a lot of really great coaching ties, Cowherd, Jesus. No. Who was it? You got to give me a name. Bill Cowher. Gee, I was literally like sitting there going crazy. I'm sorry. Shout out to Reed. Yeah, Bill Cowher was the other name. Thank you. So, our Steelers host said Rams defensive coordinator Chris Shula, who is actually one of the higher ups on my list for Raiders head coach's list. So, this brings us to our final team, the Tennessee Titans. I reached out to our Titans host. He gave me 3 candidates, and he said Matt Nagy, Kevin Stefanski, and Mike McCarthy. Tennessee fired Brian Callahan week 6 of the 2025 season. He was out very, very quickly. His prediction, and he was very confident about it, Chiefs offensive coordinator Matt Nagy. Now, this has been a team that they've been looking for a coach for a while, so you would like to believe they'd have their search narrowed down. And you want to be able to get the most out of Cam Ward, who's a unbelievable quarterback prospect, really good out of the shotgun, and maybe you try to work with a guy that's worked with Patrick Mahomes the past few seasons. So according to our Titans guy, it's Matt Nagy. So now it's the Raiders' turn. And obviously, I'm not saying that the Raiders are going to be the last team to pick. I've said it before that I believe that they have the number 1 job out there outside of the Baltimore Ravens. So with Minter gone, Hafley gone, Joseph gone, Yadinsky gone, Stefanski gone, Chris Shula gone, and Matt Nagy gone, that left me with who's going to take over for Pete Carroll. I would say the top 3 candidates that I believe in my heart of hearts, Jesse Minter, Robert Saleh, Klint Kubiak. Obviously, at the time that I'm recording this video, the Raiders have not requested to interview Robert Saleh. And I'll keep saying, Minter, Kubiak, offense, defense is where I would go. If you were to tell me, give me your pick, Mitch, I would say Minter. For the sake of this video, I can't technically take him because he went to Baltimore, so give me Klint Kubiak. So based on this show, I'm going to say Klint Kubiak is going to be the next head coach of the Raiders. You work with Ashton Genty, you work with Brock Bowers, you go out and draft Fernando Mendoza. Your last 3 first-round picks, offense. It does make a lot of sense to go with a very smart, very well-respected offensive-minded head coach where his system fits perfectly for those 3 players that I just mentioned. So be honest with me if you made it this far in the video. What's the best and worst head coaching job opening right now? Out of all the openings, which one's the best? Which one's the worst? I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think the Ravens is the best. I'll say the worst is probably the Titans, and I don't know if many people would debate on that with me. Maybe you would, maybe you won't. I mean, some people might say the Arizona Cardinals, but I'm not going to go that route. I believe that the Baltimore Ravens is the best job, whether we hate to admit it. I think the Raiders, though, is a very, very close second. Salary cap, draft picks, number 1 overall pick. So here are the NFL head coaching job predictions from the hosts here at Chat Sports. And if you like this show, like I said, it's a little bit of a different style than what I've typically done, but I wanted to do it because I know we have a lot of really smart and intelligent people that cover their teams like the back of their hand. So grade this show A, B, C, D, or F. I might be biased, but I'm going to give it an A.